6 weeks. It's a long 6 weeks. It hasn't ended
was
yet.
it.
So the whole time, did they think that you were
I was going to come back, and I decided not to go back.
through everything you've done? What are 3 of the most memorable and highlight moments for you?
I think the first sort of best moment was
Shut the front door, Guray. Was it good? Was it good?
You're happy with yourself there.
Take 1, baby. 300 to go.
It's quite funny, even for us, actually. It's the first one.
Before we start, Guray, how you feeling?
Yeah, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling really good.
No pressure. This is it.
What's your
No.
The,
podcast?
the inaugural
How
podcast.
about you starting there?
No, we haven't started yet.
Yeah.
Kurt's
I was
just
talking
being
to you,
annoying.
yeah.
Okay.
I was trying to make me feel nervous.
No,
It
not
should
at
make
all.
you feel comfortable.
Hey, Guray, it's comfortable. We're all comfortable. It's going to be
I'm
good
joking.
fun.
Okay, we'll start that.
And if not, I brought a bottle of vodka, so that'll sort us out.
Welcome back to Freedomimpact Trust. So this is our podcast, and we have got Guray Kesman here. He is the award-winning barber featured in GQ magazine. I know you like that one, that's for sure. How are you?
I'm really well, guys. Nice to have you in my salon. How
Good
you
to
guys
be back.
doing?
Yeah, good. I can see that AJ has had a fresh haircut today, so
Well,
he's already been here once.
I couldn't come on this podcast and not be clean, have a haircut. I got it done 2 hours ago, Curtis.
I know.
Super clean.
For anyone that is watching, Guray, am I booked in with you tomorrow at 10:30 a.m.?
Yes, you are. You better turn up.
Yeah. I will be there at 10:35, as I'm always 5 minutes late.
Yeah, but that's what you do. You always book someone in after the occasion.
Yeah, to be fair, I did get to today and I thought to myself, should I give you a quick call to see if you can squeeze me in? Then I thought, no, it's way too last minute. I'm not even going to try.
Okay, great. So we're here in Kesman Male Grooming in this, which is...
It's the heart of your business, the
It's
heart of your
epic
soul.
here.
Yeah.
And I think like the one thing that we want to talk about, like, how did you get to this position? I think most people kind of think, oh, business person, it suddenly happened overnight. Whereas like, we've been getting our haircut by you for 5-6 years now.
4 or 5 years, I'd say. It must be
A
like 5
long
years,
time.
yeah.
But I feel like I've never really had the time to actually, even though I sit down in your chair every time, but I never actually have that opportunity to just speak to you in the quiet. You like your music. I know you like that oomph, oomph in the background.
Exactly.
We've seen you grow, actually. It's been very, very weird because we are sat now currently in your barbershop, but the first place that we were at wasn't your original home, was it? That was somewhere that you were starting at, and then you've literally moved on to this place. So yeah, we've seen you grow. We've been with you as it's moving forwards. We love it, to be fair.
Yeah, I love it too. I mean, you guys seen my journey, and it's just amazing to, grow with people together, right? I mean, it's always been a dream of mine to, one day open my own business and, run it and have it successful and all that. And it's definitely been a tough journey. Obviously, every step was really tough. I started writing my own business plan in 2017, and then getting that perfect took me about a year, and then finding some funding, speaking to investors, that took a long time, finding the right people to talk to, finding a location, setting up a barbershop, designing it, and then you're only opening a barbershop. Now you got to get it busy and successful. The actual job starts when the barbershop is actually ready. So it's definitely been a journey that I've been growing myself as a person, understanding how to run a business, understanding how to deal with people. It's just been amazing. I'm so happy to have my own salon. It comes with its own challenges, obviously, but I do feel really proud.
Yeah, talking about people, you must have your instances. You must get your fair share of characters that come into here. It sort of turns out you end up being a counsellor, not an actual barber, don't you? Here,
But I want to get before we get that far, I want to get to like, how did you get into haircutting? Like we got into a dancing quite early on. It was our choice. Was hairdressing your choice? Was it like, I want to be a barber? Was that it from day dot?
Right, no, it wasn't actually. So back in the day, 14 years ago, I used to work in catering in the restaurant business.
Oh, I never knew that. The amount of times I've known, I never knew. I was in the kitchen.
There you go. Got something in common, Curtis.
Yeah.
But I never enjoyed it really. It was social hours. All my friends were out and about, and I had to work Fridays and Saturdays, the busiest days. And one of my cousins is a barber as well. So he said, like, why don't you come around and hang around in the salon, see how you feel? And then I really enjoyed it and gave it a go, and I was quite good at it as well. and I started training, and I never looked back.
I like that it was kind of like a family affair, even though it was like a distant thing. The same thing with us, like dancing was in the family. Dad was a dancer, but in our instance, he never wanted us to dance, which is quite ironic when we tell people that. But
we started very late, actually, in our
Yes,
dancing
yeah,
careers.
yeah.
Most people start from 4 years old. We started from about 10, 11 years old.
To be honest, I'm the
was
same
gonna
with
say,
my
what-
mum. Like I was really successful in school. I was
Yeah.
really good. My mum always expected to me like have an academical career, like doctor or dentist or something.
Yeah.
But I just never enjoyed
Push you
studying.
into the money. That's it.
When I told her that I'm gonna be a barber, she was so disappointed. Like she was like, "Really, you're gonna be a barber?" Like,
How was that for you? Yeah.
I mean, I completely understood where she was coming from.
Yeah.
As you know, they just want sort of security for their kids,
Yeah.
right? And that's completely
I think
understandable.
there's no more security than everybody needs to get their hair cut quite regularly. I think that's a pretty guaranteed job.
Very true, but I think whatever you're gonna do, and I think it's you hit the nail on the head what you're saying, Guray. I think it's if you enjoy it, you can make it successful.
That's
whatever
exactly,
it is.
that's
you're gonna
exactly
do.
what it is. I think like whoever it is, you got to choose your passion, and you're gonna make it work somehow.
And I'd say most
It
people
works.
couldn't have done what you did, actually, sort of stand up and say, no, I don't want to go into that. I don't want to do that. I don't enjoy it. It's not my cup of
Well,
tea.
they didn't have a choice.
Yeah.
I came to London when I was 15. So my parents sent me here for summer school, 6 week summer school. I meant
Yeah.
to go back, carry on my studies, but they didn't know what I had in my head. I didn't go back.
6 weeks. So a long 6 weeks. It hasn't
That
ended
was
So
yet.
the whole
6
time,
months.
did they think that you were
I was going to
literally-
come back, and I decided not to go back. And they were really upset, obviously. You know, when
Yeah,
you're 15, you're a kid, and I had to now find a job, stand on my own feet, and I
find
did.
a place to live?
Yeah, exactly. And it's been a big journey because, and also, you know, when you come from Turkey, you have to apply for a visa and stuff. So I only had 6 months tourist visa, which you can't extend. So I made myself in a very vulnerable position. So I was illegal for 4 years. So I couldn't have a bank account or work in cash and hand, you know, very small amount of money.
Yeah.
Yeah, really, really tough times. Also, like it's mentally, it was so much pressure because when you're 15, 16, 17, you know, you just want to see your family.
Yeah.
It's just that mental sport and
Even
stuff.
just the worries of being caught as well,
Yeah.
from what you were saying.
Yeah. But again, I did what I wanted. I always did what I wanted to do, and I'm glad I did it. Now, you know, my parents are happy. They understand now that why I
We were
choose.
speaking about it earlier, weren't we?
Yeah.
It was kind of like when your mum rings up, it's like, so have you moved on to your next shop yet? Or have you done this or have you done that? So she's obviously gone from like, no, I don't think that's a good career path for you, to actually, wow, you've made it happen and wholly believes in you now.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they're really super proud of me. You know, we always speak about it. They came here, they were in tears, seeing the salon. You know, I think when you come from sort of abroad, start a new life in a different country, is a lot tougher. You know, you kind of feel like, where do I belong kind of thing sometimes.
You didn't choose the easiest place either, the heart of England, the capital city as well.
Yeah, exactly. The heart of London, opening
Yeah.
a salon. But yeah, I'm super happy where I am, still growing, and still continue to grow. Really, I love it.
Where's the future looking for you then, Guray? What's on your mind? Where are you wanting to take yourself? Where do you see the shop go in the barbers? Because I see so many different elements to it. From me coming in here every time, from like the bar to the music booming, you could turn it into a blooming social club.
We had no
the atmosphere.
Curtis was asking the question, where does the word Kesman come from for Kesman male grooming? So is that your surname?
It is.
Guray?
Yeah, it's my surname.
Curtis.
We both had this same question.
I think it was more you who had this question. I was like, no, it's on his Instagram. It's Guray Kesman. I think it's kind of like it's always been there.
The name works, so Guray. That's all
That
I'm
is my
gonna
last
say.
name. My last
Yeah.
name. So to make this work, first of all, I had to have a very clear vision. I always had dreams, but I know dreams without goals are just dreams. So I had to make sure I have goals to achieve those dreams. So in my vision, I wanted to create something. It's not just a barbershop. It's like where people feel like they belong to somewhere. You know, come in here, we've got a nice bar. You know, they can chill here.
Yeah.
And also in our business in barbering, we found our niche where we do more of a consultation with people to understand what they do in their lifestyle. Do they have time for maintenance? All that kind of stuff that add on to create the best hairstyle for them. It takes a bit of time, But then when you get it right, your clients are with you for life.
Yeah.
Also, we built up a little relationship with people, and I love that. Like, I think probably one of the best things about my job is meeting so many different people, creating relationships. Like one of my clients were asking me, like, when have maybe 4 or 5 jobs in future, would you step away from cutting hair and just run the business? And I don't think I could. Like, I think if I didn't cut hair, I just wouldn't have this, right?
Well, this brought me on to my next question. I was going to ask you, how many barbershops do you need before you'll stop cutting hair?
I just don't think. I think in my plan, let's put it clear. So I want to have 5 salons in London.
Yeah, awesome.
That's the plan. 1 in Paris, 1 in New York, and 1 in Miami. That was my original business plan. And we're on the way there. We open a second one in Victoria later this year. I'm very excited. But I don't think I'll stop cutting hair. Maybe I won't work full time. Like
we spoke about, didn't we? One of having your location. So like you have all of your shops, but you always have like your Guray or private room or like that clientele sort of scenario. So you can always come and go into each shop and cut your client's hair in that specific room,
whenever
in that
you
chair.
Want. Yeah, well that's his own.
Oh yeah,
room.
Nobody else goes in that. This is Guray's chair.
That's exactly what I have designed in the new shop in Victoria. That I'll have a VIP area and office. So no one will be allowed in there. I'll have some sort of secret features in there for my sort of
like the king's golden throne.
yeah, fun stuff. I don't think I can ever stop, really. Just a social.
That's good to hear, because my hair grows every week and it's always going to need cutting for the rest of my life.
Do you know what? Like, when I sort of started cutting hair, I had like people working around me that has been in the industry for a long time, and I was hearing them speaking to their clients saying, I've been cutting your hair for like 10 years or something. And I was thinking like, I wish I will get there one day and I can speak to my clients that I've been doing your hair for like 10 years. And I have clients that have been doing their hair more than 10 years now. And it's just such a nice feeling.
It's a real trust. And I was speaking to Curtis about this before the podcast. And I was like, Kurt knows how OCD crazy I am with multiple facets of my life. But hair was one thing. When I danced,
facet of your life.
Especially when I danced, like every week, or if it went 2 weeks and I hadn't had a trim, like I would feel like my competition, I couldn't be number 1 in the world. I couldn't go and perform at my highest if my hair was not perfect. So the environment you built in here that you walk in, it feels like a home. It's that one space that we spoke about, that there's not very many things that you actually go, take time, sit down, take care of yourself and actually talk to somebody. It's more than just a haircut. It's a relationship that you build with your barber, that trust, but also a bit of like
a counseling session.
A positive therapy, positive this is my safe space. If I want to talk, like it's a safe space to talk. Or sometimes when you could, I'm sure you've got multiple clients that like, it's been a stressful day. I just need to be quiet, drink my drink. And the one thing I do love in here, you do have all options of drinks. You've got the full bar set up in the corner, like whatever you need, you're sorted here. It's really kind of personal experience, and that's what I really appreciate. Every time I get my hair cut, it's in my diary and it makes me happy when I see it.
Well, you've not had a shave here, AJ, yet. Wait until you get that experience from Guray. I'll tell you now, it's the whole blooming 9 yards.
You definitely need to have that.
Tell them about that treatment.
So I need to get a beard and then have a shave.
Yeah, tell them about the treatment, Guray. It's next level, AJ. This is magical.
Curtis started having it recently as well, maybe last 5-6 visits, and obviously he didn't know much about how we do the process and stuff. So we use like a steam machine to sort of soften the skin, and
little massage,
hot towel, and then we do the shave, and then we put a cold towel, and then we close the pores, and then moisturize, and a face massage. It's quite a relaxing process. And
it sounds it. I feel like maybe I'll just have like a little shave next time.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll grow a beard just to have that experience, I feel like.
Exactly.
So that's what it literally is. If you want to come here for a bit of meditation, a nice little massage, a good facial, and a great haircut.
Good music as well.
That's what you want.
Yeah.
Guray's the man.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm coming back to what you were saying earlier in terms of people are sort of having positive kind of therapy.
100%.
Barbers are in a really sort of weird position with their clients, right? So we are probably pretty close with them, speaking wise. They feel comfortable enough to tell us about their life stories, or their wives or partners, whatever. And they know that we don't really know anybody else in their sort of families or friends direction.
Yeah,
So
circle.
they know whatever has been spoken on the chair. Once they left this chair, that's it. It stays on this chair. And I think, like you said, it's a safe space to, if you feeling angry about your wife, talking about that, or there's so many.
No, I feel like I've spoke to you before. I spoke to, obviously, mum's always at the top of the list, but like beyond that, it's like I spoke to you about so many things that I've never spoke to anybody else about. And if anything, I'll kind of not test it on you, but I'll release to you, feel more relaxed, and then I'll go speak to the world, especially when it comes down to social media and things. Like, yes, it's kind of like I put my phone down, my arms are in my little cape, I can't grab my phone. I feel calm. I feel like nobody can get me. That's the one part where you'll never get me replying to a message when I'm getting my haircut, ever. I feel like I'd insult you as a barber just to even do that.
That's actually so funny you say that, because I actually feel the same. If I go on my phone when getting
you never
a haircut,
reply to anybody at any time of the day.
What I'm saying about insulting the barber, I actually agree with this. Is it insulting at all? If somebody starts doing something, actually talking about
it is. I get it. Some people have, very important jobs. They have to answer emails and stuff, and some people want to do that as well. But I guess if you're chatting to someone and then suddenly they go on their phones, yes, it is. I would say it is rude to a barber, and especially, I don't know. When people on the chair, I don't usually see them as a client. I see them someone that I'm speaking to in the pub or whatever. And I would expect very similar sort of thing from a client perspective where, we can freely speak about stuff. I completely understand some people just don't want to speak. They just want to relax and experience.
Yeah, definitely.
You can clearly understand that. So we judge it quite easily. So imagine we speak to 15 people a day, right? So if people are answering very short answers, like short yes, no's, you probably clear that this guy doesn't want to speak, just crack on with the haircut.
You got to read it.
Yeah, exactly. But it's just amazing. I've spoken to so many people, and them telling me about their life stories or what they're struggling about. Even if we help them a little bit about just listening, just taking that weight off their shoulders and making them feel better. I think it just means the world to me. Just knowing that you are kind of helping someone out, not just about the haircut. I think barbers have so much impact in public, making them feel better. Or if someone's doing something not really wrong, like I had that stories before, I would tell them straight to my clients, man, you're out of order, I'll tell them. And they're like, I think sometimes
have you ever had anyone walk off?
Say again?
Have you ever had anybody get up and walk out?
No, I haven't, but that guy changed his life around. So it was an amazing story, and it just makes me feel so proud, and you're making a change. You're not just cutting someone's hair, and it's just amazing. I love my job.
That's actually amazing, and that is, I definitely say, actually people don't realise how hard it probably actually is being a barber, because you've got all of these other added stresses and other situations that actually come on top of everything else that you are doing, as well as wanting to perfect that haircut that you're doing.
Also dealing with your own life, right? So sometimes it is actually, I enjoy talking to people, but sometimes I feel like maybe sometimes I'm taking them problems sort of me. Not everyone can just leave things at work and just go home. And you go home, you have your own.
Not
problems.
when it's your own business and your own you. It's so much more than, as you said. It's not a client that sits in front of you. It's a person at the end of the day.
Exactly. You're trying to figure it out, and you go home, and then you got to do stuff. But then back of your head, you're still thinking about that sort of problem. It can be tough sometimes. Don't get me wrong. Especially if someone's going through a really tough time, you really feel for them, and you're trying to help as much as you can. But at the same time, we've got to try to protect our mental health as well.
Yes, that's
talking about the home life and how do you do your time management? Because you're not just coming in cutting hair, you are running a full business, setting up another business. Do you have a certain time management or something that works for you? I know what works for me. Maybe it'll help Curtis as well. Maybe it'll help his time management.
Because it isn't a 9 till 5 job that you do, is it?
It's
24/7.
Definitely isn't a 9 to 5 job. I think we were talking about it today. There's not enough days in a week for you to just finish everything.
Non-stop.
It never finishes. And I run a full column here and work all day like all my other barbers here. And also after work, I deal with my admin stuff on my days off, everything else around it, running the social media myself. ads, marketing, everything else. It's time also I have a little girl who's 6, so trying to make time for her, trying to balance. I do sometimes worry that maybe I am a bit of a workaholic.
It's not a bad thing.
It is sometimes where, you can't do enough. You think like you
It's
can't
hard
do
to
enough.
find the balance.
Yes.
Hard to find the balance, exactly that. But then when I do that, I kind of step away from everything for like a day, just to breathe and then go back into it. Just to.
It sounds like you found that healthy balance. So you can step away for a day. Like I find that hard to be like for one whole day not to do something that's worked for at least 1 or 2 hours. I get itchy. I start like twitching. Like it's not healthy. I haven't found the healthiest balance just yet. But I'm younger. I don't have a kid. I don't have I just keep working until I hit the pillow.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't really have much lanes. I'm up 6:30 every morning. Even the weekends, my daughter wakes up very early, and I have to wake up with her, obviously.
You got no
Yeah,
choice
yeah.
there.
I don't have a choice.
Daddy, you're up.
Yeah, exactly. Which I love, it's just the quality time. But, sometimes I do feel like, just a couple of days, just, no responsibilities, no salon,
You time.
just
relax,
me time.
Yeah.
And relaxing. But again, I'll probably do that and then I get bored within that 2 days. So I'll go back to my work life and just my daughter. Yeah.
How do you think it's going to be when you have got the 2 shops? Because obviously it's going ahead, it's opening up, it's going to be out there. Do you think you're going to have to really try and work between each shop and interact with them both, or do a full day here, full day there? How are you going to try and manage your time between them?
So this is pretty much established. I have a salon manager, Pandy. He's great, so I can completely trust him to sort of look after the salon for me. So I will be more spending 80% of my time in the new salon. Up in my day, I work 5 days now, so I'll be working 6 days a week, probably 4 days there, 2 days here to support. But yeah, I like the same I did here. So first probably year needs a lot of attention, making sure everything's running smoothly.
It's that baby year.
Exactly, a baby year, picking the right team members. It needs a lot of hard work, but I'm sure we'll get there. Creating exactly the same concept and getting exactly right people, and I'm sure I'll be fine.
Because with your time, the one thing I do like about, like, obviously you put it in, it's kind of like time box management. You have your slot, your person comes in, get the haircut. It's very clear. But is that how you approach your time in your own life? Do you kind of like write a list, like prioritize things and give time to like yourself, your daughter, like
2 and 3 there?
That's what I do. I write a list and I prioritize the top 3 things, and then I put in an hour for that, an hour for that, an hour for that, and then that allows me to prioritize things I need to do, tick them off, and then give myself, I've got spare time to fit in, do other things I need to do. That's the only way I can get it done in my day. It's written out. If I taught myself, it's there. If I don't do it, well, it's not going to happen.
I'm very organized in my work life, but really chaotic in my personal life. So no, I don't have a list.
I love that. Super organized in work, chaotic at
Wait,
home.
what do you do, Kurt, then?
I'm chaotic in both. That's what I would say. No, my time management is, I wouldn't do that, to be fair. What I'm doing now is just, actually I've started doing one thing that you said is, if you think of something, try and write it down as a note before you go to bed. I've started to
get it out of your brain, put it on a list, and then you can wake up in the morning and
do
start
it the
that
first
list
thing
off.
in the morning. That is good. Otherwise, I wouldn't do that. I would just try and remember it and then do it.
You don't remember anything.
And that's the problem. And that's where we're going wrong with this at the moment.
I'll give you an example. Yesterday, right. So Kurt was coming back from Cheshire to London, and he came to my flat. He was late, obviously, traffic. There's always traffic on the M25. Then he went back to his flat, just like 100 meters away. He goes, I'm going to change my jeans. I'm going to grab my laptop. We'll get in the car. We'll go to the next location.
It was a very rushed morning. This was.
Oh,
I was up at 5
every
a.m.
morning.
All right.
It's your own fault you're up at 5 a.m. You could have come back the night before. So I go,
My
well, you
car
haven't
broke.
on a Friday, and somebody else went and got you a courtesy car. You didn't even have to do that yourself.
I was on
And
holiday in Wales.
he come back. I was like, oh, you haven't changed your trousers for the meeting. You got joggers on. You look a bit scruffy. He goes, oh yeah, they were dirty. I went, well, where's the laptop that you said you were going to get for like the meeting? He goes, oh, damn it, I forgot that as well.
Right. Okay.
I've been it's like a never-ending list of like, if
you've said half a story there and really stitched me up here, Guray. I was rushing around left, right, and centre.
You're rushing.
My car
wait,
broke.
Why were you rushing?
I didn't have my garage key because it was in my other car.
Well, why were you rushing around? And why didn't you have a garage key?
Because my garage key is on my keys attached to my Merc, which
and
is
you
in
forgot
a Mercedes
to get them
garage. I did forget to ask for them.
I have to say, I'm a little bit more organised than that.
Yeah.
No, I got my house key and everything, but I didn't know I was getting a courtesy car, so I didn't think I needed my garage key. And then I was in Wales.
It's
jet
good you
skiing.
got your house keys.
So yeah, I was jet skiing around, and then basically Dad went and picked me up a courtesy car. They managed to get me one on the other day, and then I didn't have my garage.
And then you decided to come back on a Monday morning, work traffic.
Yeah, I was still made it in time for the meetings. You know, it's
I
not
was
about
like-
me anyway. We don't need to talk about this. So yeah, in other words, I need to get better time management skills, Guray.
Right, we'll go on to the next one, Curtis. When you got the shop, for example, like we spoke about this before, and you used capital to make this happen. Like, this is not out of your pocket, because we are here in Farringdon, in central London. It's
not cheap.
It's not cheap. No. So how do you deal with that management and obviously staffing and employing people and making the decision of where the budget's spent, to be honest?
Yeah, that one's the most difficult one, really.
Yeah.
That when I made my business plan, I had to be really, really careful and look into every single detail possible. So obviously, you guys probably watch Dragon's Den, very similar sort of concept, writing a business plan and trying to get investment for your business, right?
Yeah.
Come pray.
And you have to, but then again, even when you get your investment, you have to make sure that what you said on your business plan, that you have to be able to perform. So I've done really well in terms of what I promised and what I did. Basically, my investors are very happy moving forward together again to the second one. What do I do with the guys here? I mean, it's a process to get the guys on board. So
Run us through it. How'd you find somebody looking for a new barber?
That was the one thing when we first came to this shop. It's like, it's amazing looking around everything. You were like, okay, but how do I find the barber that represents what Kesman's is, like the values of it, the quality, and the personality of the people? Like, everybody here's got their own identity, and I love it. It's just like a style.
There's a standard of quality to every single person that works in this place. Like, how
It's like a cool private members club.
And that is there is not that many barbers out there with the standard that you need to be here. Like, how do you actually grab them up, and how are other people not grabbing them? What's your incentive, Guray?
So what I do is first,
teach me your magic. Yeah.
First, like I feed a lot from people's energy and vibes, and I always have first face-to-face meeting without anything to do with work, right? Just to try and understand what kind of people they are, what do they do. Just trying to get that vibes, because I would only work with nice people. I don't care if they're the best barbers in the world; they have to be nice.
And I suppose they need to talk to the clients that are here, so they need to have a conversation.
Exactly, and they have to love their jobs. Like what I found, right? So you can only pretend to be nice for a couple of hours, and then
because they're not just staff; it becomes a family, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And also the clients, right? You can't pretend to be like smile and just be nice to your clients all the time if you hate your job or you're a prick.
It'll show.
Do you know what I mean? You just you just can't do it. But if you like your job and you're a nice person, you don't need to make an effort. It just happens naturally.
Yeah.
So this was the first step, and the second step is skill test. So they'll bring 2 models of their friends or whatever. They'll come and cut their hair, like short hairstyle and a longer hairstyle.
Do you give them a hairstyle that they need to try and recreate, or do you just leave it to them? And
No, they just
snip away.
No, they just create whatever we ask for. Usually more like a skin fade type of hairstyle, one of the models, and then the other was a bit more longer hairstyle, so we can see some scissor skills. Yeah. And if that goes well, and then we'll do like 2 days full trial days, and then just to see how their time management is, how they are behaving in the shop, how are they treating their clients, and all that kind of stuff, and how they are with the team. Are they fitting in quite well? Because it's really important, right? I would hate to have a team where not everyone is solid.
Yeah.
It's so important because we spend more time here than
your family.
Our family at home. So it's very important. If that 2 days go well as well, then they got 3 months probation. and that passes, they got the secure job basically. It
comes to the opposite end of it, Guray. How do you let's say they're not quite
What do you break the news to them that
up to standard? Yeah. How do you break the news to them that unfortunately
I'm quite, communication is the key, I think. People, we are all humans, and people have ups and downs. People have, sometimes personal problems.
Yeah.
But if people are not communicating it really well and they're just showing that work quite a bit, then I don't really like it. If someone needs time, we sort themselves out. If they need any type of help, we're always here.
Yeah.
Like we had that before, one of our guys had a problem, and, we were all solid together supporting that guy, and we were there for him. And he picked himself up.
Oh, yeah.
Well, good. Yeah. And this is how it's supposed to be. But I think the one thing that I can't really compromise is skills where, the haircut's got to be
your
good.
name on the door at the end of the day.
Exactly, yeah.
And you are coming for a trim.
Yeah, exactly. That's what you pay for, right? And that's very important. And we did have a couple of people we had to let go. And, of course, it's always a tough one to have that chat. To let someone
I think
go.
Do you do it yourself?
But honesty is the best policy. Like it's saying it. You're not doing it out of malice, and it's not.
I know,
it's
but
not
it's always
evil. It's being honest. And
being
open.
a nice person. Obviously, you never want to be horrible or let somebody
I
down.
feel like
do you?
you would be the worst person at firing somebody, because I'd come in the next day and the person would still be there.
I think this would be the problem. Either I actually would be too nice, or I'd be too brutal. I don't think there'll be a middle ground. Because I think I'd have to either get it done, so see you later, or I'd be a little bit like, sugar.
No, you're too nice.
There's always ways that you can let him go nice and softly, rather than
get
brutally.
somebody else to do it. put the blame, delegate that job to somebody else, Guray.
Get
You're not going to do like an email link. You see so many people in we'll talk about this in a second, but in COVID, you saw people just sending email links out, and I was like, that is so painful to even feeling it, and I haven't even lost a job, and I was like,
what people
to receive it via email or on a public Zoom, and yep, so you're all fired now.
Well, the government told us to lose our jobs. They said
they did, yeah.
That
was the irony. That was it. Obviously, somebody has designed it. It's an artist that's been used, a photographer that's been used, a videographer, makeup, hair, and lose your job. But actually, all the people in your industry have kind of created the ad to tell you to lose your job. We're just going to take a moment to thank our sponsors, FINT, the financial investment app.
Investing made easy. Go check out the app, download it, and launch your brighter future today. Yeah, which actually brings us to that whole COVID incident. That must have been horrible, Guray, for you.
That wasn't in the business plan, was it?
Yeah. Where did that come from?
We were on tour. That wasn't in our business plan.
That must have been brutal. It was for us. We got everything, for the whole world, everything got cut, dead. Let's take a moment to thank our sponsors.
Yes, FINT. You can launch your brighter future today, so head over to their website and register your interest.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been, COVID itself has been terrible. Financial side of things was absolutely terrible, obviously. One good side that I was, fortunate enough to spend a little time with my daughter.
Of course,
which was amazing.
Yeah.
But coming back to business, so we opened 2021 April when everything was allowed to open back up again. But obviously people were still quite cautious. Everyone was working from home.
Yeah.
So town was ghost town, basically. Nobody wanted to come. So the first probably 6 months, we did struggle quite a bit. It wasn't as busy as...
Were you worried at all?
Well, the thing, when I spoke to you, was you're picking this location, you're right next to Farringdon Station, you got people in all the offices, you got footfall literally 24/7
in all the offices.
Yeah, it was the reason why you chose this hub, this centre.
Yeah, well, one of the other reasons as well, I used to come here for design weeks in Clerkenwell Design Week, so I'm really into interior design as well, so I designed the shop myself. And then I thought, what a better place to be, design place, and we are quite creative.
Yeah,
just going to jump in there. I've seen a couple of awards on the old shelf there, Guray, for internal design. Finalist for the best design and different things like this. Congratulations on that. I have to say, they're very nice places.
Thank you. Thank you so
Chairs
much.
that I love.
It is, isn't it? Mustard is a color of liberation. So when I look at it, it just makes you feel so.
When you walk in here, you're like, this is a good place. Like before you've even looked at somebody's hair, you're like, what?
Was that an actual a decision that you chose then? That this color and everything for like color
Yeah, mustard is actually my favorite color.
Ah, I love that. Then.
I designed it all based on my taste over the years, you know, seeing different shops and working in different kind of places. But the colors are, I think, so important in people's eyes where it just makes you feel in different ways. And mustard does definitely give that liberation where I think it makes a massive difference in men because a lot of men before, not so much now, but quite a lot of stereotype hairstyles where they weren't brave enough to be able to try out different things and different hairstyles.
So you've been through it all, the blonde, the blue, the pink, I'm colorblind. I even saw it was clear.
I go for it. I don't think I would maybe 6-7 years ago.
Yeah.
But you just evolve and change, I guess. And I think it's such an amazing time now that I think a lot of men a lot more brave about trying new hairstyles and, you know, just going with it really. Yeah, definitely. But yeah, mustard, when you come into salon, that's the whole aim for people to feel a bit more liberated that maybe they might be open to trying new hairstyles.
Yeah, that's a very, very good motto behind that idea. Yeah, I love that actually about it.
Yeah, definitely.
That's very, very good. You saw that. It shocked me. I didn't realize that. So, the new place. Can you give us a little insight into what it is going to look like? Just a little sneaky preview.
Well, what would you describe this place as first? What would you put in this? I feel like it's like young, fresh, private members.
Is in
got the bar?
Yeah. What was the thought process behind it? Yeah, because it is very. I love the rustic. For anybody that isn't watching this, we've got like that open concrete roof with all of the pipes and the vents out with that open concrete floor.
Industrial.
Yeah.
So that's the whole thing. When I wanted to go to industrial because industrial is timeless. So I want to design something that is timeless, that it won't sort of look old in a couple of years' time, which is 2 years in now, so it's still looking fresh.
100%.
I think that's really important. Also, I think we're barbershops, so we're quite masculine place. And that raw materials that I wanted to choose, like polished concrete floor to raw ceiling to raw wood panels.
Yeah.
You know, everything in the salon.
The
is
leather's
quite
solid but soft. Yeah.
Exactly. So everything in the salon is quite raw, masculine, made for men, really.
I would absolutely agree. Right, Guray, throw it at me. You've been doing, how long did you say you've been cutting hair for now? 15 years? 14 years? 14 years. So you've been doing it for quite a long time now. Give me 3 of your best moments or most memorable moments that have happened for you throughout creating your business and throughout all of your barber competitions, through the awards, through everything you've done. What are 3 of the most memorable and highlight moments for you?
I think the first sort of best moment was when I won the British Barber of the Year 2019.
A little round of applause there for him.
Thank you. I think that was like a turning point for me where I had a lot of exposure and it just gave me so much credit and, you know, people saw my passion.
Yeah.
I just thought, you know, sometimes you're trying to show people how much you love
Did
what you do.
that give you the confidence to kind of move towards getting your own place?
100%.
So I remember when I came to you at the other place and it was kind of like, it was in that kind of crossover. You were kind of talking about it, but you weren't really talking about it. And then the award happened and a bit more kind of opportunities opened up.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, like...
So do you think if that award didn't happen, maybe you wouldn't be in your own place now?
I definitely would be still.
You still would be.
I definitely would be still. But I think what happens is, like, when you trying to seek an investment, I think those kind of awards that give so much credit to you
100%.
and makes you so credible and makes your life so much easier because you're actually certified by... You know, an organization saying this guy is actually the best barber in UK.
He's actually good.
He's actually good.
Yeah, when your own profession is kind of propping you up, like it says a lot to a lot of people.
It's a massive recognition, and I loved it. And then after that, GQ happens. After that award in the place I used to work in, and that was another massive thing for me being in the GQ. And then when I opened this place up, and then GQ followed up. And they came here at the service, and then they put us permanently on their website and reviewed us.
It's so good, yeah.
It's incredible. I think GQ is like one of the probably most credible magazines that you can't
GQ's
just...
top of the list. Oh,
you can't
it's
you
up
can't
there.
pay for it
Did
and go in there.
Did you notice an influx of actual people coming in and stuff when you got into GQ and into these things?
I can give you numbers.
Yeah.
Like, you know, we had Google Maps sort of reports probably since we opened up, maybe between 10 to 30,000 people visiting us on Google Maps.
Holy cow. Yeah.
That was at the beginning. And then after GQ, it's gone up to like 500K.
Shut the front door, Guray.
GQ is.
Go on.
Yeah.
I told you. That's why at
Holy
the beginning I was like,
sugar.
award-winning barber, featured in GQ. It's a
Yeah.
big point.
That literally, so we were definitely going in that direction, but literally
We need to
pushed
get
us
GQ.
Yeah.
right up. And it's just, they have million views a month and 95% male and mostly based in London.
Yeah,
So
wow.
it's just been amazing for us.
But you've had to have the skill to get there, so you deserve to be there, and that's why it has successfully happened. And
Yeah,
it's worked
absolutely.
well.
Yeah, but the one
Absolutely.
thing
Got
that
that ground,
that
yeah.
I appreciate with you is it's not just the awesome barber. We know that it's something you take for granted. Unfortunately, when you walk into somewhere, I know you've had some bad haircuts. I mean, when
Don't
Curtis
even
first
go
saw
there.
you, I think it was on GMB, and you were cutting his hair. And
Well, that's when we-
your
yeah.
hair had been butchered. There is no other way to put it.
And
It'd been butchered.
I
It
had,
was
let me give
horrendous.
people a little bit of backstory, because you just said about 10 stories at once there. Yes, Guray and I first met just after Love Island. So I'd done Love Island, and I'd just come off there, and that's when I had first met Guray. Now, on Love Island, let's just say they didn't have that many barbers. We need to get you as a barber on Love Island. I'm telling you, the guys would absolutely kill for you, because we struggled to get barbers on there. Nobody could cut afro hair, even for any of the normal guys. We struggled to get a barber cutting our hair. We got butchered in that place.
I know. I've seen.
unfortunately.
Do you know what? One of the reasons, I don't know if you remember. So in the morning when we first met, when I was talking about your hair, so we were just sitting and watching Love Island. That we were quite a big fan, and then
What did you think? What has happened to
you
him?
you had a haircut just like before the finals or something, and I was like, "What have they done to this guy's hair?" And then I sent an email to your agent,
Yes, and that's how we.
and that's how we started. I said, "Look,
I
this is
mean-
the situation. I'm watching this Love Island right now,
Cheers, Guray.
and it's unbelievable."
Honesty is the best policy. That's what we
It,
say.
it seriously is.
I have had some bad cuts. I've had one other cut as well, Guray. I wish you followed me around on tours. I used to.
Pantomime as well.
No, that's not nothing about. I used to do a lot of tours, and we used to travel everywhere. So we were trying to find
Yeah,
barbers
yeah.
when you're on tour, and it would just be finding where you can, really. And I went into this one place, and it was a free haircut. I should have realised at that point that I'd really messed up, and it was a trainee guy.
Oh, who? No. No.
But if you knew that and you sit on that chair,
That's your own fault.
That's
Yeah,
your
but you
own
know
fault.
when you sit down and you feel panicked, and you don't have the cojones to say,
You're
actually,
too
no.
nice. Kurt's
Yeah,
too nice.
I couldn't say
You're
to him,
just
no,
like-
I don't want a trainee. I want
bet
a
you,
real guy.
at the end of it, did you go, that was a great haircut,
I
mate?
bet you did as well.
I bet you did. And you're like, oh no, I'm missing off the head.
I was like, cheers, mate, there's a tip. No, I wasn't.
I bet you did.
No, I actually, I can't remember, but all I do remember walking out and nearly crying for the first time in my life. I never cared about hair until that moment. I never realised that you could be butchered to the point of looking like a corpse. It was awful. And
It
now
is.
I've met Guray, so thank you, yeah.
It is. I mean, when you go to the wrong
Yeah.
place, it's definitely.
And it
can be
takes a couple
terrible.
of haircuts to get it out as well, to like get the mess out.
Well, that was the thing. I remember when we first came and you said, I'm going to have
Shave
to...
it all off.
I'm going to have to cut in a certain way for it to grow properly again,
Yeah,
to
exactly,
then actually
exactly.
style you properly.
Exactly.
Thanks, guys. I love that's how we met. I saw him on a TV program and thought, what the hell?
I'm
has
I'm
happened
just being
to
honest,
his
bro.
hair?
I'm being honest with
Hey,
you.
honesty's key, Guray. I do love it.
Okay, I do have to ask, when most people sit down in the chair, do they just start talking about topical subjects? Is there like a flow of what people do? Like obviously, the newspaper, Daily Mail, whatever it is, like, is there a conversation key? Obviously they ask like, what do you want the usual? Most people go, yeah, I'll have the usual.
Yeah, I guess once you make the regulars, I guess there's
Yeah.
situations like that. But the chats are usually like, if it's Monday or Tuesday, it's about the weekend.
Yeah.
If it's Thursday
So wait, on
or
Monday and
Friday, it's
Tuesday
about the
normally-
weekend
Are
as
they
well.
normally happy chats Monday and Tuesday then? They're good ones in a way.
Depends how much of a good time they had last
Yeah.
weekend. And then Thursday and Friday is about the weekend again, but coming weekend.
So
what's
you
the
literally
plans?
just have everybody talking to you about the weekend.
Weekend,
Bar
holidays,
Wednesday, the
how's
midweek
you know
blues.
work stuff, how's work is going, or if you're actually feeling a bit more closer to the client
Yeah.
and a bit more intense chats about everything else, really. I don't want to go too much into
Yeah.
detail.
Okay, we've got to talk about topical subjects then. Topical subjects, as we spoke about location. Here, next to Farringdon Station, train strikes. How do they make you feel?
How do
Does
you
it
deal
does
with
it-
them?
like-
How badly does it affect your business on a serious note?
As in people trying to get here, both employees and other people, everything.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like, I'm all for like strikes and stuff. I completely understand. And when they used to do it like once or twice a year, I'm fully support them. But at the moment, it's like twice a month. And we are probably like,
It's so bad. I shouldn't even laugh because in our profession, if I went, oh, I'm just going to strike today, well, I'm not going to get paid. I'm not going to do anything. I'm never going to get hired again. I would never get hired
Well,
again.
that was the problem with my courtesy car. I was originally going to get a train, but I couldn't, so I had to get a courtesy car back down there because of strikes. Yeah.
that's crazy. We, in the business as well, it definitely affects us quite bad because we as barbers struggle to get in. I live in Blackheath, so it usually takes me about 35-40 minutes to get here. If there's no trains, it takes me about 2 hours. So it's a long time because you have to wait around for the buses, DLR, all that stuff is so much. And also the business goes down where people cancel their appointments. So we're usually down by 40% on train
And there's
strike
nothing
days.
you
Because
can
obviously,
do. You can't claim it back from them.
24-hour cancellation policy normally is a thing
You
in
can.
places, but if it's a strike,
It is, but what can you say? Like if someone's train is not working, they can't come to the shop, and you can't just say, oh, I don't care. You got to pay the money. You can't care.
Yeah.
And yeah, it does definitely affect. So it is. I completely understand where these guys are coming from, but
To a degree.
to a degree, because if you, I care about you until you stop caring about me,
Yeah.
and if you don't care about anybody else, like I reckon, a lot of people can work from home, right? But the small businesses like us, we can't work from home, so we
No.
need to come in. And all those people who work from home come to the office, needs to come to the office for us to survive and make our money. The same it is like lunch places and all that stuff. When there's a strike, they prep everything, and then all the prep goes into bin.
Binned all that
Yeah.
food. Binned.
Yeah,
Like think of the
waste.
waste. The problem is most people. I think that you hit the nail on the head perfectly. Like at a point, okay, we
It's a
understand
knock-on
it,
effect.
but when it's just kind of the ignorant side and it becomes a bit, it's just like it's what's good for them, but it's not good for everybody else actually in the
Yeah.
long term.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, definitely doesn't affect us in a good way. Definitely not. I do some admin stuff if I'm free, but
I still work,
I still
but I
work.
just do different work.
yeah,
Did have
exactly.
7 clients, now only got the 1 today, so we'll do some cleaning.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Clearing day today.
No, I love it though, Guray. Everything you've done, you've from cutting our hair, everything you've done is your business, your job, growing it is opening another place, hopefully opening 3 other places here, 2 in other countries.
But the one thing is I believe in you. Like when we first
Yeah,
met, you
this is what I was
spoke
gonna
about
say.
things and you put it out there into the universe and you didn't just kind of, it's a pipe dream.
You've done
You
it.
put it into effect. And for somebody to write a business plan, it does take a good 6 months, a year to get the business plan ready before you even show anybody, present it. Then you move on to capital. Then you move on to getting a space. Like you've implemented every step. And that's one thing that I do appreciate you as a business person more than just you as like awesome barber.
Yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of things come through. Like a lot of people give up in the very beginning. Where, you even
It's hard.
starting to write in the business plan, and then you're halfway there, and then you struggle, and then you just stop. Right. I think what I found is like few different things that in my head that like understanding what they mean and following them through, like commitment. Once I'm committed, and discipline, where I have to be up here every day, like 8:15. This is me. I don't have to be. I'm the boss. I could come 10, 11 o'clock every morning, but I'm not.
Set the standard.
I set the standard, and discipline is very important, and consistency. Commitment, consistency, discipline, and that gives everything a structure, and without them, it is very difficult to be successful because you can't follow up. You cannot follow up.
It's interesting what you just said there about you set the standard. When we do pantomimes each year, we always come in
Exactly what I was just about to say.
as the top billing, like the kind of the celebrity scenario. But the one thing is that it always filters down. If we, as the kind of celebrity, work the hardest, are there the earliest, leave the latest, we set the precedent for everybody else.
And are polite and kind.
Oh, of course,
Yeah,
because that's just the way we've been brought up. Nobody else underneath us, as kind of the ensemble, and anybody else can be like, "I'll turn up late," or being blasé, or being rude, because like, well, the precedent's already been set. Like, if you're going to be under that, well, unfortunately, you shouldn't really be in the cast. You shouldn't be here.
Absolutely. So important. Like, I think even in our job, like with the other barbers as well, when we have like team meetings and stuff, we talk about consistency so much, because you try so hard to get the shot where it needs to be, up there, everyone's talking about it, creating an amazing reputation. Now you got to keep it up, and the only way to keep it up is consistency, providing that service all the time, giving those fresh haircuts all the time. You can have a bad day outside. Once you walk in through the door, you got to leave everything behind and just crack on with your day and enjoy your day, and give the best that you can, really.
Yeah. What's the one thing that you feel like, I know you always look around your shop and you're always kind of watching everybody. I kind of see it, I like it. But the improvement that you feel like you could do in here, what's the one thing you'd want to do more in here?
I think we are pretty much like thinking about every single detail, from a client walking through the door to then our receptionist greeting them with a smile,
Yeah.
offering them a drink. Then you're sitting down by the lounge, looking at our photo shoot studio, feeling creative and inspired.
Got your magazine, which you always like.
We got our Kesman magazine, looking through their hairstyles. You got complimentary drinks, through hot drinks to cold drinks to alcoholic drinks. And then you get the full consultation. We think about every single detail to people's skin, scalp, hair, head shapes, lifestyle. So there's always an improvement, where I think we learn that through working here. Just trying new things out, failing, trying another thing out. People like that, let's keep that kind of thing. But I think learning and improving never stops. So there's always going to be something that we've been improving on.
I love that.
Would you ever
Always.
expand out into, do you reckon, like women's hair or things like that? Because we were just having a conversation before. The reason I say this is because you went to watch the new film. What is it?
Little
The
Mermaid.
Little Mermaid.
Mermaid film.
Yeah.
And you said that you think they spend around 180,000 or something on her hair alone.
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
Like, does it mean that's a lot of money?
That's-
And that's a female hair, a wig, or
That's
whatever.
definitely money in it for sure. But I think, again, to be successful, you got to stick to what you know.
Yes,
And I will stick to what I know.
yeah.
No, to be honest, I like everything
Great
is on
answer
point
to that,
in here.
Guray. I love that. And I'll stick to what I know. Yeah.
Or employ somebody who knows what they know.
Yeah, then that is true as well. But then if you don't know exactly what's
Yeah.
happening,
Yeah,
then
I
you
know.
can't quality check, right? And it's very risky.
Have you cut female hair and stuff?
I can cut female
Yeah,
hair.
but-
It's not a problem. But when you cut female hair, it doesn't end up just being a haircut. Then the question starts coming like, can you put some highlights on my hair, or do
So I asked for
Uh,
highlights next week. I'm not gonna lie.
yeah, ladies' services are so different to
Yes,
male
yeah,
services, so different. So yeah, I will stick to barbering.
So yeah, you would have to sort of create a whole nother shop, do you reckon?
And also everything else in this shop is made for like a male energy.
yeah.
Obviously a lot of our clients come with their sort of partners and stuff, and everyone's always welcome to our salon. We have ladies working here as well. But the whole atmosphere is more like a masculine atmosphere.
Yeah.
So if I wanted to open a hair salon for ladies, like
Yeah.
hairdressers, it will have to be completely different sort of atmosphere and ambience
Yeah.
for it to be suitable for that kind of.
Be very intrigued
clientele.
on the design that you would create, because no doubt it'd be fantastic whatever you'd create for the whole female element. But I'd be very intrigued to see what you'd come up with.
Yeah, it'd be
It
interesting.
would
I'll
actually be
think about
cool.
that.
Yeah.
I'll think
I
about
can
it.
see his
Someone
brain
put a
thinking
picture
like,
there.
actually,
I'm
if I've
processing
got the
it.
5 barbers shops and then the 3 abroad,
this is what I'm
and
thinking.
maybe I'll go into something else.
Imagine and then turn your place into a member, because if you had like a little bar in every single place or something,
Kurt thinks
you
you
really
should be a
could.
private members club when
Well, I was thinking you
doors
could.
close.
I'm on about years down the line or something. You could create it into a members club or something where they can come for a coffee. I don't know. You attach something bigger later on down
You got
the
the,
line.
like a WeWorks at the side. Is that what you're on
yeah,
about?
or something. I'm just
Like
thinking,
Soho House and
thinking outside
Soho
the box
Works.
for you. Different things, really.
My dreams are never too big.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I believe it. Like when I sort of started thinking about opening my own place, it felt so far
Yeah.
away. It's incredible.
Was it scary?
Scary, but impossible at the same time.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm trying to put it all in my head, saying, write a business plan, get investment, you know, find a place, find builders, design it. It just felt impossible.
So,
But
so
then-
what did you do then? What was your advice to yourself to make that happen and to other people in that scenario now?
Never give up.
Yeah.
Just
Just
keep
go
going.
for it.
Keep going. Like, I think what people need to understand, you have to have a vision.
Yeah.
You can cry out loud that you think you want to do this, you want to do that. If you don't have vision, you're just
luck.
swimming against the current. That's basically it. You're not going anywhere. You're just beating yourself up. I think creating a vision, understanding what exactly you want from a business and where it fits in the
Yeah.
market is the key. You know, how much you're going to charge. You know, what are you offering?
Yeah.
You know, what are you actually offering? Are you the same as everybody else? Are you going to just fade in, or are you going to stand out?
What makes you in your niche, and you've really honestly built in this place here. Not that most people, like, honestly check it out online, the socials, but it is its own niche, its own style. It's very unique. It's very identifiable. You walk in this door, even if like I was just blindfolded, I would know where I'd be, even from the tiles, the floor, the chairs themselves, the bar. It has its own identity, and that's one thing that I love about it.
I think that interior side of things, absolutely you're right. Is every single thing has got its own sort of personality, but I think our niche is more understanding people, understand their needs, understanding what they want from a hairstyle. So hairstyle is your confidence. Your clothes starts from your hair. And that's very important. Like when you said,
That is cool.
That's good.
like when you said about not feeling confident. You know,
Yeah.
if your hair is not.
If my
done like
hair's
that,
not on
Yeah.
point, I don't feel good.
that's exactly what I'm talking
I'd say
about.
if you ask
So
99% of people that walked out the door, they feel better than walking in 100%.
Oh, oh my God.
Definitely.
That could be the improvement. You can have a little like write something as they leave or something, or like, you know what I mean? Like,
Well, a little green face or a red
or
face.
just
sit
record
next
them
to-
as they walk out every time.
just
Yeah.
like smiling face, like just a bit sad walking in, and as they're leaving, they're always smiling. It's true though.
A little Ring doorbell and just create reels out of it and put it out there. A little horrible
That's
face
pretty
coming
good,
in,
actually.
smiling face coming
Trying to give you
out.
ideas here. I
There you
think
go,
I kind
Guray.
of like
It's
it.
the
Yeah,
next
there's
big
so
step.
much you can do, but our niche is like our motto has always been head shape, hair
Yeah.
type, personality. So we look at people's head shapes with their hair type and match that hairstyle into their personality, and that has to be suitable with their lifestyle. I'm
Big
looking at it.
occipital bone or not big occipital bone.
I've got a massive occipital bone. Heightened intelligence, that is.
Oh my bloody hell.
No, honestly,
Absolute
we've spoke
rubbish.
now about so many different things, and I could speak to you all night, Guray. But I think for us, we have to do this again. We have to
Yeah,
do
we
it.
need to bring you back
Absolutely.
on.
Talk
Absolutely.
again, talk about the new shops, and I think, to be honest, seeing that grow from ground up, like following that journey as well. Like, I know it's going to be 2, 3, 4. It's gonna fly on from here now.
Yeah, and well, we'll need to get you back on as soon as you've got that next place opened. And,
I would love to. It's just been amazing that we are actually doing this special sort of your first episode
Yeah.
in my salon, and it feels really special. And
It's so good.
and you guys seen my journey, and
Yeah.
it's actually so nice to sort of grow together
Yeah.
and support each other. And you guys always been very supportive, so I really appreciate that.
No,
Honestly, please shout out where people can find you, Guray, and obviously Kesman's. Just let them
quick
know.
promotion, hit it, Guray.
So I shall do a bit of a promotion. So we are Kesman Male Grooming, guys. We're in Farringdon, in the heart of London, in the city. So definitely follow us on social media, Kesman Male Grooming page. You can see all different type of hairstyles there, what's suitable for you. Come in for a consultation. Come and chat to us. What's your problems with your hair? What you want to do? And we take it from there.
Yeah, you heard the man. Get calling in, get booking. But no, I do have to say, Guray, you are hands down, and I'm not just saying this, from the first ever trim I had with you, the best barber I have ever been with, and the only barber I will ever be with from now on.
Thanks, guys.
Unless
It
I
means
move
a
out
lot.
of this
I'll
country.
remind you of that when you take a dodgy hair. He always,
yeah.
he always does
No,
one a
no.
year, doesn't he? Always one
Right.
dodgy one a
It
year,
just
randomly.
depends on the situation. For example,
One random dodgy one he does.
if we're doing panto, it's very hard.
You know what? Also, I can tell from his face when he walks in.
He's
like,
yeah.
I'm
Thinking, crap, I
sorry.
betrayed my
Yeah.
barber. This ain't going well. No, thanks, Guray.
No,
Honestly,
thank you
you're
so
legend
much.
for everything you've done. Congratulations on where you're going with your business, with the growth that you've done.
Excited to see it, global domination.
Onwards and
I'm
upwards,
really
and keep doing
excited.
it.
Really
Yeah.
excited to grow and yeah, do some great haircuts for all of London.
Legend. Thank you, Guray.
My pleasure. And thank you for coming around, guys. And thank you for having the first episode in my salon.
No, it's all good. And thank you, everyone, for listening. And we hope you've enjoyed it. And yeah, please tune in on the next episode. We just want to take one more second again to thank our sponsors of this podcast, FINT, the financial investment app. Guray, we're going to throw it over to you actually on this one. It's an app. You can invest on it. It's so simple. 3 different portfolios. Would you invest through a financial investment app?
Of course I would. Of course I would. Why not send it over? I'd
love
love
it.
to have a look. Yeah, I'm definitely getting more into investment. So, and I think everyone should.
Yeah.
Everyone should, because I think a lot of people were trying to do well with their finances.
Yeah.
With one job, it's impossible. But when you have your savings, you can definitely do a lot more with an investment.
I think honestly for us as well, FINT is not about short term, it's about long term investment, it's about education, and we feel kind of it's about actually helping the masses, not just a few.
We
Oh,
want
that's
to,
amazing.
we want to make people aware. My goal is to get them people investing as young as they possibly can. So when they are 28, my age, 27, 28, they can.
So they don't waste money like Curtis
yeah,
did.
Yeah. So you don't waste money. So when you are my age, you've got that deposit for your house or whatever you want to start off your life, your family, or whatever it may be. And that's the goal of what we're wanting, to get them young people to that level that they can start their lives properly.
Yeah.
That's amazing, and also creating that awareness, isn't it?
100%. Education. If you're not educated, how are you going to help other people and spread the word? So education is the biggest point for us in FINT.
And we don't talk about it in school at all. So we're going to bring it there. We want people to talk about money, investing, and doing everything in the smartest way possible.
Absolutely, it should be talked about more and educated more. Like you said, AJ, it's so important. So important.
Thanks for listening to the podcast. That was Freedomimpact Trust. We hope you've enjoyed it. We've loved chatting once again. Please leave a comment below because it really helps the algorithm and helps get the podcast out there. And also, let us know if there's any financial questions which you want answering, and we can answer them in the pod next week. Like I said, share, like, comment, subscribe, and let everybody know about the podcast.
And thank you to our sponsors, FINT, the financial investment app, where you can invest from as little as £50 a month.
£50?
Yes, £50, Curtis.
Well, wow, it's an absolute bargain. And don't forget, it's through 3 different portfolios. So choose the one that you like and get investing.
Have a great day.
See you later, guys.